Hello, and welcome to the second part of the 2023 Memorial Day Chicagoland Railfan Extravaganza. In this video, we're going to cover all of the BNSF trains I saw while on this trip. Now, I was not expecting to visit BNSF, but on the first day, May 25th, we were bored. We had finished seeing all the stuff we wanted to see at Homewood Yard, and it was still basically midday. So we decided to drive north to BNSF's Cicero Yard in Cicero. However, the road that took us there paralleled the CTA. I'm sure you've seen this road in the previous two videos of the Memorial Day Extravaganza. However, this time there was traffic, which meant we got to kinda pace this CTA train coming into the city. We saw one more CTA train before we merged off that road to head to Cicero and ended up accidentally passing by BNSF's Corwith Intermodal Yard. This yard is pretty much inaccessible to rail fans, and this road is practically the only part of it you can see. We noticed first by the intermodal sitting, and eventually we passed the loco shops, which was mostly filled with BNSF GEVOs, but did have two Canadian Pacific engines and an H1-9 in it. I wish we had gotten better shots of them, but oh well. The intermodal was also powered by some foreign power, with a Norfolk Southern GEVO behind the standard BNSF one. Once we arrived in Cicero, we noticed that there was quite a lot of standard cab activity, and it only took about a minute before a random manifest appeared. This is the Racetrack, it's busy. The manifest was powered by a pretty good set of BNSF power with a rare AC 4400 CW in the lead, and trailing behind it is an Ace, which isn't rare, but it is rare to see off coal trains. Also, I totally completely not notice that CN GEVO off to the left of your screen right now while I was filming. However, as the end of that manifest was appearing, a random BNSF yard movement pulled out of the yard. And just as the end of the manifest did in fact clear, the yard movement started pushing back into the yard, and I got a shot of it. And it was a very interesting yard movement, with the second unit being one of the GP39s, which is a rebuild of the GP30, with its original funny roof still intact. And behind it was a GP23 Eco. I didn't even know BNSF had those, which is a rebuild of a GP60. As the two Jeeps escaped back into the yard, we then decided to leave the Cicero metro station and drive down the side of the Cicero yard to see if we could spot anything. We couldn't. However, we had already basically made it to the west end of Cicero Yard, so we decided to stay at the La Vergne metro station instead of the Cicero one. And it was only about a minute after we got there that we got a metro train powered by 210. And now, I would like to inform any rail fans who are confused right now about why 210 is so infamous, and I would like to politely ask you to not Google it and forget I ever mentioned this unit because seriously, you don't want to know. Anyways, as soon as that metro cleared, there were already lights of another eastbound approaching, a BNSF Z train, and unlike the metro, this one would not disappoint. Even though there were two normal units in the lead, trailing third was a BNSF fake bonnet. The first one ever I've gotten a pretty decent shot of. The wall of fake bonnet scams is finally over. With this being the racetrack, the next eastbound appeared literally 5 minutes later. And BNSF said, yeah, you know, remember that fake bonnet? Yeah. Want another one? Needless to say, I was just overjoyed when this unit showed up. Getting a fake bonnet at all is rare, but getting two back-to-back is even crazier. I set myself up in position to catch the rear DPU on this cool shot, catching both crossing gates, including the one that blocked you from walking over the sidewalk, in view, but as the rear DPU went away, the gates didn't go back up. It took me a pretty long time to realize there was actually another train coming, which was a BNSF Cole powered by two Aces. I barely made it back to the crossing in time before it cleared. Now, you might have noticed that all the shots so far at La Vergne have been backlit. Now, I was pretty upset about that in the moment, but looking back, my camera does really well in backlit environments, so the shots ended up looking pretty good. Anyways, we decided to move to the other platform to avoid any future trains being backlit. And pretty much as soon as we got to that platform, we heard a horn and another metro was approaching, this time heading west. And it was going fast. And it was on the close track. And what happened next? Well, I'm just gonna show you. Yep, that's right. The Metro whipped by so fast that it flung my camcorder bag at least 100 feet down the track and destroyed a lot of my camera equipment. Thankfully, nothing crucial. I was able to pick up the pieces quick enough to film this Metro train in about a minute after that whole incident. After that train passed, we picked up the pieces from our incident, literally, and then afterwards drove to the conveniently placed Best Buy in Cicero to buy the camera equipment that we lost, including the USB to SD card transfer that I need for my camcorder. Unfortunately, they didn't have a spare battery. We ended up passing over Belt Railway of Chicago's clearing yard on the way home, which we did get to literally stop on top of the bridge of, thanks to the pretty insane traffic, although we didn't see any trains pass. The next day, on May 26th, we again weren't planning to railfan BNSF's Racetrack. This day was supposed to be CPKC Bensonville Yard. However, one of the railfans we met at CPKC Bensonville Yard, who you'll see in the next video, told us that Amtrak 6, the California Zephyr, had 2 new Chargers in tow behind the 2 P-42s on this day, and we were not going to miss that. So after Bensonville, we drove back to the racetrack and met up with them at LaGrange. We did have a short but very action-packed wait for Amtrak 6, starting with this random BNSF manifest with 2 H2-9s for power. But then, to our complete shock, the manifest met with another train. A BNSF CWR, or Continuous Welded Rail, MAU train. These trains carry rails. I mean, look at them. And they are used to lay down the rails. In an area where rails need laying down, the train will stop and will have excavators and other MAU apparatuses pull the rails out of the back of the trucks and onto the ground. I have seen a couple CWR trains before, but never got good shots, so this was extremely nice. These trains are rare and very rarely show up. And speaking of things that are rare and very rarely show up, the next train was our Amtrak 6, with 2 P-42s providing the power and 2 Chargers, which haven't even entered revenue service yet, in delivery to Chicago for crew familiarization and activation. And with that, we went home. The BNSF Racetrack certainly did provide us a lot of gems. The back-to-back war bonnets and in-delivery Chargers were definitely the highlight. With Metro cutting a lot of weekend service at the end of the year, this will probably be my last time seeing consistent Metros on a weekend. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Catch those units while you can, especially the Metros, and I'll see you in the next video.